I mean, this topic of sustainability, it will not go away, right? So it will become even more important, and with this, the role of the CSO.
Hello and welcome to the CSO Impact Podcast, where we talk to leaders in sustainability and experts in the ecosystem. We're discussing how we can work in a way that makes a positive impact on the planet. I'm your host, Harald Neithardt, and in this episode, we talk to Petra Wicklandt, Chief Sustainability Officer of Merck Group. Petra, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Harald. I'm happy to be here.
Petra, thank you very much for being here with us. I'd like to start talking about your role as a Chief Sustainability Officer at Merck. Can you tell us a little bit about the project you're working on right now?
Yeah, sure. I think like any CSO at the moment in companies that are based in Europe, the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, which is a completely new way of reporting, is keeping the CSOs busy. I mean, this is a big project, and we need to get used to a completely new way of reporting. And this way of reporting demonstrates that from now on, non-financial data are as important as financial data. However, reporting is, of course, one aspect. And even though this keeps us busy and a lot of resources are in this big project, also related to digitalization, we have a lot of other projects where we drive our sustainability targets, and we want to achieve our sustainability targets. Let me give you 3 examples. One example is that we are working on our climate transition plan. We have quite ambitious targets. Until 2040, we want to become climate neutral. And this covers Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3. And we agreed to this in 2020. And since 2020, we have made a lot of progress. So we achieved a reduction of Scope 1 and 2 by 31%. And if you count Scope 3 in, then it's a reduction by 16%. So we made progress. However, what we realized is we have a very detailed plan in place until 2030. Until 2030, we want to halve our Scope 1 and 2 emissions and reduce the intensity of Scope 3 by 52%. However, the plan starting between 2030 and 2040 is less detailed. And that is what we are trying to deliver now with our climate transition plan. So, very important project. The second one is also very, very close to my heart. And these are our access programs in our healthcare sector. One project that Merck is following for many years is that we agreed to contribute to the elimination of schistosomiasis, which is a very severe tropical disease. Many children are infected, and the infection happens in water. And I have been myself to the Lake Victoria and have been there and checked the situation. And of course, you see a lot of children just playing in the water, and in the water you get infected. There's a treatment for this, and this is a very old drug that is in our portfolio. It's praziquantel. We are donating this drug together with the WHO to sub-Saharan countries. And Merck, the family, Merck is still family owned, as you know, they have committed to continue this treatment and donation until schistosomiasis is really eliminated. And we have now also developed a pediatric formulation that is especially for young children, because the tablets are quite big, right? So they are such big. You need a lot of this drug, and you can imagine young children cannot swallow it. So what we have done is we have developed a new formulation for children. You can dissolve it in water, and the children can, it's much better. They don't need to swallow this big tablet. So, and related to this is also our overall access program of some of our normal drugs that in our normal commercial portfolio. And here we have an ambitious goal that we want to reach 80 million patients with this program until 2030. And maybe a third program that I would also like to mention, because I think it is something which is quite unique, is the ethical advice, and it's actually external ethical advice that we are offering to our colleagues in science and digital here at Merck. It's well established. We are doing this for many years, and we have a couple of experts that are really well known from academia, that are well-known ethical experts in digital ethics or in bioethics. And our colleagues from research and development or from the digital departments, from our AI departments, they come with questions and say, look, there are questions and the regulations are not clear, right? So it's not always black and white. I need to know, can I do this? Can I not do this? And then they come with this question, and we discuss it with the external experts, and we have experts from all different continents, and they give us their insights, they give us their opinion. Because I think a science and technology company like Merck, we are we have a very high accountability to act in an ethical way. Not everything what we could do, we should do. And this is why we have these two external advisory boards, one for digital, for AI, and one for bioethics. And
so, there
are many other topics, but we could talk for hours.
Exactly. So we have a good start here. Actually, we could talk for hours because you are also a part of one of the authors of our book, Leadership for Sustainable Futures. And we see in your background, you also are one of our top 100 CSOs in Europe, which we, awarded in Davos, and you got a special mention from the jury especially for the government's role. Now, with all of the things you do now, I think it's very interesting. How did you even start in this role? There's a little bit more in the book, so I know a little bit, but maybe you can share. How did you start?
Actually, I'm a pharmacist by training. And I always was fascinated by really delivering solutions for patients, addressing unmet need. So when I started my career, I started in healthcare research and development, and I also worked in healthcare commercial production. And I think this is still a part of our sustainability strategy nowadays, because addressing unmet need and making our drugs available for population in low and middle income countries is an important part of our strategy. So this is how I started. And actually, I spent 23 years in research and development, and within this period, I was also 5 years in commercial production. And then I thought, okay, that was really fascinating. Maybe I do something completely different. And then I was offered an assignment as head of corporate affairs. And corporate responsibility, as it was called at this time, was part of corporate affairs. And so actually, I started to dig into ESG topics in 2017. And of course, I had a great team, and I was starting to learning from them a lot. And 3 years ago, we decided that corporate affairs, where we had our government affairs topics and everything, maybe it's not anymore the right place for sustainability. And we said it should be combined with other functions that are much closer to sustainability. And this led then to my current assignment, because at the moment I'm not only responsible for sustainability, but my role is broader. It also covers corporate animal affairs, so animal welfare. It covers the classical environment, health, safety topic, corporate quality, corporate crisis management, security, cybersecurity, and trade compliance. And on top of this, you know that in Germany we have a very, very special law, the Supply Chain Due Diligence Act, and here I'm also the human rights officer. So you can see there's really a bunch of very diverse topics. And but sustainability is a topic that is really has a relation and a touch point to all functions of Merck. I think it's a very good fit, like it's organized at the moment.
I mean, you have this breadth of experience. You have a lot of different roles that you play already or that grew into your position. It's remarkable. And as a global company, you know, it's a very important role. How do you see the role of the CSO evolve in the next, let's say, 5 years, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it will become more important. That's for sure. I mean, this topic of sustainability, it will not go away, right? So it will become even more important, and with this, the role of the CSO. I think CSO have to deal more with compliance topics, because there are more and more regulations, and actually it's a wave of regulation in this area that comes out. So we need to deal more with compliance and how a company can comply to all these additional legal requirements. So on the other hand side, we need to also understand that compliance is not equal sustainability. I mean, compliance, and one thing I always give as an example, as a company, you cannot differentiate yourself with compliance. Yeah? I mean, everybody needs to comply, right? So this is not a way to differentiate yourself. It's more playing defense. The topics where you can differentiate with is playing offense. And one part of our sustainability strategy is that we want to provide human progress to 1 billion people until 2030 with our products. So we want to deliver products that are greener, that address more unmet medical need, and that are more sustainable. And I think this is where we can really differentiate from other companies, and where you see business value and societal value coming together.
Let's say the role, as you say, is expanding. Now, you have been in so many different positions, from R&D, really be in production, now as CSO. In all these positions, is there maybe one challenge or a couple of more, even achievements that you are proud of? Maybe one, maybe two. What has been, let's say, along this journey, something remarkable that was striking to you?
Of course, I had many different roles, and there were different things. And maybe let's start with one thing. When I was heading a commercial production unit, where I'm still proud about. And when I took over this production unit, it was not very modern, right? It was outdated, and that was many years ago. I think it was 1998. Yes, so long time ago. And at this time point, there was a decision, well, can we modernize this plant or should we close it, right? And I convinced at this time the management that modernizing is the right decision, and I provided them a plan how we can modernize this plant. And this included lots of things. It included a real refurbishment where we had to refurbish an aseptic plant while continuing producing. And it included modernization in a way that we started a shift system and all these things. The plant is still running. It's now also quite an old plant because we modernized it quite many years ago. But I think I'm still proud that we managed to continue to deliver these products to the patients, and we saved a lot of working places. And I'm still proud about that. In R&D, when I was working in R&D, I'm most proud about the contribution of my team to the drugs we brought to patients and to the market. Then there were a couple of drugs that were launched when I was still heading chemical and pharmaceutical development in R&D. And that's really very, very rewarding. And in my role as CSO, I think I'm most proud about the importance that this topic has become really. And you see, if you go 10 years back, people didn't talk about this topic, and it was not so well known. And that's not only my achievement. I mean, I have a little part in that, but I'm really proud about my team who really managed to bring this to a high attention. I mean, our board has full attention on this topic. Every function has its own sustainability targets. We have financial incentives. I mean, that when we first tried that, we thought, let's see if this really works. But now, I mean, the whole company has financial incentives in sustainability. And this increase of importance, I think, is a great common achievement. And I would never say it's mine, right? But it's a great common achievement of the sustainability team.
I think that's what you touch upon is like the topic of governance. So your setup goes into the financial areas of everybody in the whole group or in the whole company. Can you just maybe dive in a little bit about the governance structure, how you report and there's a governance board, I think, a sustainability board?
Yeah. So in my role, I report directly to our CEO. Belén Garrijo is our CEO, and that's an advantage. I mean, if you are CSO and report directly to the CEO, that's great because, well, you have direct access to the CEO, and I can directly discuss with her the ambition. And I have to confirm, Belén has a high ambition for sustainability, and she said, I want to be number one. And that's great. So to have this support. Our governance structure is we have a Merck sustainability board. We have high-level managers in this board, and I really make sure that we stay on this high level because it's important that you have people on this board who can decide things and who can drive things. So we have representatives from each business sector in this sustainability board. We also have, we make sure that we have representatives also from US and from China. And we have representatives from what we call enabling functions. So for example, procurement is a very important function. Finance is a very important function. Communication is also very important. So and with this board, we make important decisions. And I can tell you that sometimes it starts with very, very different opinions. And part of this is that Merck is not one healthcare company or one electronics company. We have a healthcare sector. We have a life science sector where we actually sell materials, antibodies, small drugs, services to other healthcare companies. And we have an electronics sector where we sell materials for the semiconductor industry and pigments. And you can imagine, as different as these sectors are, as different are the challenges in sustainability. And for example, our electronics sector has at the moment the biggest burden in terms of reducing our greenhouse gases. So their commitment really needs to have a good plan behind. Whereas our healthcare sector is, of course, the one who has the task in providing access to our drugs. And so still, we want to agree on one common target for Merck. And sometimes it takes a lot of negotiation and forth and back. But so far, in the end, we always agreed on one target. And I think our targets are ambitious. So I'm quite proud that we always find a solution.
So, as you say, it's so, let's say, integrated that, when you worked with R&D before, is this some kind of coming maybe full circle that once you measure and manage sustainability issues, as you say, reporting is the first thing. Now it's about innovation, right? Everybody has to think about new ideas.
Yeah, definitely. And I always say sustainability will be most accepted from the customers if it comes together with innovation. Yeah? So this combination of a more innovative product combined with an increased sustainability, this is the best product. And I can also share that with you. We are very well aware that in many of our sectors, we work on projects that will come to the market maybe in 5 years, maybe in healthcare, maybe in 7 years or even 10 years. So we need to ensure that what our colleagues in R&D are doing today is already taken into account the sustainability requirements in 10 years. So what we have done, we have started a project which is called Umbrella, because it covers all R&D organizations in all business sectors. And projects, when you are in research and development, they have certain stage gates where you check if the product profile that you intend to achieve in the end, if you are on the right track. And what we have done is we added to these scorecards that are already existing, we added a sustainability scorecard. That means at every stage gate of our R&D process, projects are not only checked for their innovative profile. For example, in healthcare, you check the bioavailability, the drugability, the manufacturability, but we add a sustainability scorecard. And this scorecard is very different depending on in which sector you are. So you can imagine in electronics, there is a big focus really on greenhouse gases, that we should avoid any emissions for these projects, but also on water saving. Whereas in healthcare, they are completely different things. And one example where you can directly see that it's completely different is that we want to have diversity in the patients in our clinical trials. And we want to make sure that in the end, our drugs really tested in a very, very diverse patient population.
So it's really about futures, sustainable futures. You have to be a futurist to think about what drugs will come out in the market or any products in 10 years. What's the world like in 10 years? So I think it's a very foresight system as you have in scorecards and so on. Thinking about, let's say, young Petra becoming a pharmacist, or I know in the article you write about, one of the things that you wanted to be in school, and you draw yourself even in a white suit and and giving out pharmacy things. Now, thinking about a young person right now, maybe who wants to come into the role of the CSO, we know it can come from different backgrounds. Not a lot of people are already studying it. Not a lot of universities even have it as a program yet. So that's all still evolving. But we need these people. We need a lot of new CSOs, ESG experts coming to life. So what would you say to somebody who just started as a CSO? What's maybe a most important thing that somebody has to keep in mind, or what's maybe a challenge, something intriguing, inspiring to start in a journey like yours?
I would say the first thing I would say is, enjoy the job, because it's one of the most wonderful jobs. The purpose of this job is so clear, right? Everybody talks about purpose nowadays. In this job, it's so obvious and so clear. And so I think it's extremely fulfilling. And for me, it's a wonderful job. And so enjoy. That's my first message. The second is, there are some things this job has in common with any other leadership position. And for me, it is every progress is related to hard work. And yes, setting ambitious targets is one thing, but you need to make progress. And these are little steps, and you need to continue to put step after step, and every step is hard work. And we need to be aware about that, because what I also see is, when you talk about sustainability, people are enthusiastic, right? In every department say, oh, great, sustainability, what can we do? But then it comes to real actions. And this is then really hard work. And it is, sometimes it's also overcoming obstacles and overcoming challenges, convincing people, be resilient. And this is very similar to any other leadership position.
Great. Thank you so much, Petra. I think it was really inspiring to hear about your journeys from the beginning and from where you're now. And it doesn't seem you're stopping soon. So I think there's so much great work that you're doing. And thanks for sharing your insights and your passion. It's really inspiring to see you in this role. And again, congratulations and thank you again for also being in our book and for being here in the CSO Impact podcast today. Thank you, Petra. So for those of you who want to know a little bit more about Petra, you can read her essay, as already mentioned, in the book, Leadership for Sustainable Futures. And it's really nice and inspiring and well written. You should write a little bit more. I think it's a really good essay. And for the other authors are amazing as well. You find more about the book in the link in the description, and follow us for more podcast recordings. Thank you again, Petra. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Harald, for having me. Bye.